So I went into the funeral home with my cousin. We had picked out a wig from a beauty supply store, and my mother had extensions sewn into her hair, and we couldn't get the tracks out. That upset me so much that she died with tracks in her hair. We had to put the wig on. I think my cousin did her makeup, but they had got her dressed, and I was in there, trying to fix the wig. My cousin was trying to fix the wig, and, I think my cousin did her makeup, but nobody didn't want to touch her. My cousin was kind of freaking out a little bit, but I wasn't really freaking out or whatever, and that was a smell to her body. She had been transported to Arkansas for the funeral, to be buried where my family was at. And it was very disrespectful how a lot of people were behaving around that time. But back to what was going on with me. So in this unit with these women, where Miss Brown and Katie and Danielle, I don't remember the names of the other women that were there, but they were very specific because they were the ones who were communicating with me the most. And I recall, just these women just plotting on me. And then they were trying to say that I wasn't pregnant. And then the guy Blackjack came to visit me, Sterling. That was the first time that anybody had came to visit me since October, when Tanisha had came to visit me. And here I was going into labor, and my cervix was like right there by the opening of the vagina. And I had checked my cervix while I was in the shower. Well, I went in the shower and touched my cervix, because it was right there, like where the hole is, and then you put it right there, and the cervix was right there. And I had been in the back of the jail, and my cervix it was lifted up, and it had begun to open, like it was rounded. And I started praying, I didn't want to have a miscarriage or whatever. I was so small. But this time, it started changing, and they had been poisoning me. But by this time, I came out the shower, and one of the girls had said something, and I had told them that I was pregnant. So I shouldn't have said anything, because I know they, snakes or whatever. So I was like, I told them, I was like, yeah, I checked my cervix or whatever. And so one of the girls was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You could hurt yourself or whatever. I'm a grown woman. I didn't do it in front of none of y'all. I did it in the shower, and I shouldn't have told them. That was my personal business. But somebody, I guess, went back and told somebody. So I was going out to the rec yard and everything, and the other girls was finding out about my case and stuff and what was going on. And the guards had called me over the intercom and was like, Jones, they was like, you being moved. I was like, why? We had, no, we were supposed to go outside to rec. And I was like, why? Why am I being moved? And this is what they had been doing the whole time, dragging me back there. And then he was like, I don't know. He was like, you got to ask them. So the guards came to come and get my stuff. And I was like, why am I being moved? And then they were like, just get your stuff. Like, I don't know. And then I was like, where are you moving to? At least tell me. I was like, are y'all moving me back to the segregated housing units? Because that's where they had been trying to continue to poison me when I was in there with the girls. Like, when I would go to get a tray, they were poisoning the trays. And then when they realized that I was kind of going ahead of I would be like, I was going to wait in third in line, and then I'll get in front of somebody and hurry up and get the next tray, or I'll step behind somebody like, oh no, you go ahead and get it. You can go get it first. And they were like, no, you. I'm like, no, you. And I'll let them get the poison tray, and then I'll grab the next one, because I knew they were setting me up or whatever. And then they started messing with all the trays. And then the white girls was looking at the stuff like, what's wrong with this? Like, what's wrong with the food? And that's when they went on ahead and was removing me. And then so they took all my stuff and brought me back to the back of the jail in the segregated housing units. And when they brought me back to the back of the jail, they was like, when they put me in the cell, the sergeants had put me in there, and I was crying, like, why are you putting me back here? Why are you putting? They put me in the one in the very, 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 very back. So it was like up against the wall, like the very last one. And then they were saying, we're putting you back here because the man was like, because you're not taking your medication. And I was like, I don't take medication. What are you talking about? I don't take medication. And this was after I had contacted the black lady and told her I needed a doctor. And she was like, she ignored me. And she was like, do you need me to contact mental health? And now they was back there talking about I was back there because I wasn't taking medication. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't take medication. And I started screaming. Like, you know, loud. And Sergeant Vales, a white lady named Sergeant Vales, an officer up there, she came and she was like, why are you screaming? Stop screaming. And then I was on my knees and I was screaming. And she was the sergeant that moved me back there from one of the units where the girls had tried to fight me. They had moved me to the first unit they put me in. I was crying for my son the first night, and one of the girls was like, shut up, I'm trying to hear the TV, a white girl. And I was like, I'm crying about my son. Do you really think I care about that TV? Then she got up and called the guard. I'm finna fight. And the guards came and talked to my bunk. I was on top bunk, and they was like, come on, you coming with us. I was like, she the one talking about she gonna fight. So what you coming up here to me for? And so then I left up out of there, and all those girls was in there for drug charges, and they knew. I told them what happened when I first got in there, and they was acting all sympathetic. And I was crying, and then they all tried to gang up on me. So then they moved me into another cell, and I was on the phone because my stepsister was saying she would bond me out. Then she said my little sister said she would do it. So I called my little sister, and my little sister said she had got a loan. She was processing it. She said that she paid the bond and it was processing. So now I'm in the second unit. And I'm with a bunch of white girls again. They didn't put me around no black girls. And I was on the phone calling my family, and they was not answering. And you will know if you really got bonded out because you won't be able to use the phone. And here I was able to use the phone. I knew that she did not pay that bond. So I was over here like, I got mad, and I was like, y'all, I was like, they really gonna leave me up in here with a bunch of racist ass police. And then one of the white girls was like, man, I'm tired of you talking about white people as racist and all of that. I said, well, I'm not talking to you. And if it wasn't you who did it, then don't say nothing to me. And then so she went over to the wall. Like, I'm finna beat this nigga. Like, I'm finna beat her up and all of that. And I was like, what did you steady talking about you trying to fight me for? You know, my conversation, what I got something. I didn't say you was racist. I said the police. So why are you trying to make it about you? You know what I'm saying? So she was trying to take up for the white police officers that were being racist. And so the guards came and moved me to another cell with nothing but white girls, and they had a day room, and we was in separate cells, and you could come out and come into the day room, but the other ones was where we was all bunked together. And so these women was telling me they different charges and stuff like that. One girl was supposedly in there because they were saying she killed her baby, her little girl, and I don't know if this is what some satanic stuff. Another girl was saying she tried to stab her baby daddy, her husband. Another lady, they was in there for different stuff. And I was calling my family, for like a day or two, and they wasn't answering. So, they answered, and Shakina, my sister, had said that, I was like, you said you paid the bond. What happened? She said, I never said I paid it. I said I got a loan and that the loan was processing. But she told me that she paid it. Or at least that's what I felt like she said. And that's pretty much what she said. And so, she was like, I was like, okay, well, go ahead and pay the bond then. If the loan is processed. And then she was like, oh, well, it's not my money, it's Vanessa money. Then she put Vanessa on the phone, and Vanessa was like, Dre, that's a lot of money. And I was like, okay, but you talking about how much money it is, look at what's going on. Because my other sister, when I called and she said she was gonna buy me out, my stepsister she was saying he been trying to kill you, because I had been calling my family and telling them what he had been doing even though I had not been in contact with them since my mom died. I hadn't been in much contact with them. Like, we talked every once in a while. When I first got pregnant with my son, I told them, that I was pregnant with my son. And everybody ran out and got pregnant after that. And I had no baby shower. Nobody was happy for me. Nobody was there for me. And everybody named their child with an M, just like I named my baby with an M. And then they was all naming their child with an M. And then nobody was there for me while I was pregnant. And it was my first child. And they all had kids. But nobody could be happy for me. And so, supposedly I wasn't able to get pregnant, but after the African preacher prayed for me, and I had been praying to God, I had a vision, and a pastor handed me a little boy and said that he's yours. And then I was like, I think I'm gonna have a son, and I did. And so like, when Lord, please anoint me, Jesus. So while we was in this unit, the day room, Vanessa had put my Uncle Kerry on the phone, and then my Uncle Kerry was like, oh, I'm gonna try to get you. He was like, that's a lot of money. He was like, do you know what kind of charges these are? And I was like, of course I know what kind of charges it was, but I was defending myself. And I was like, of course. And I didn't know that I was still pregnant because I had missed my period in the house with Austin, but then I started bleeding. So I thought that I had miscarried, and I didn't know that I was still pregnant. And they didn't give me a pregnancy test when I came in. But I guess I was showing. And because I did have a baby bump or whatever. But it was really like, it was small, and I figured I was just fat, and because I was like almost 200 pounds at the time. So I was like, yeah, I know what kind of charges it is. He was like, well, let me see. I'm going to try to get the bond reduced. Let me call some people to try to get you a lawyer, and I'm going to try to get the bond reduced. Call us back in like 2 days or something like that. So I had been calling them, and they stopped answering the phone. They wouldn't answer the phone. So I got angry, and I had put the phone back on the hook, and I was just over there thinking, like, I can't believe, this is going on or whatever. And I kicked the trash can. I was like, boom. And I kicked the trash can. And then the white girl that was saying that she was saying that they was trying to charge her with killing her newborn little girl, which I don't know if this is satanic or not, but she had turned to me and was like, I'm on the phone, la la la. And I was like, I don't care. And then I called the guard, because she was trying to fight me. So I called the guard, and then the guard, I came out, and the guard was like, go to your cell. And I dropped to my knees, and I was like, y'all took my baby from me. Y'all took my son from me. Because Austin was attacking my baby when I shot him, and he was attacking me in the house. He was attacking me all over my house. He attacked me. He made my son bump his head in his bedroom. He made my son fall and bump his head in the kitchen. He pushed my son off of a recliner chair and caused him to bump his head on the floor. He punched my son in the back, and he was slinging my baby upside down and squeezing him during the time when I shot him. And there was a witness that was involved in the struggle, and he was trying to get Austin to stop attacking me and the baby too. So for them to have charged me and had refused to make Austin leave the house, and he had just got out of prison, and he was in there attacking us, and then the police refused to remove him, and Cynthia O'Vera was calling the police department trying to get them to take me to jail, and her son was in there attacking me, and everybody knew he was attacking me. Everybody knew that he was attacking my son, and my family knew. So the fact that they had me in there, and then now they done said they was going to buy me out, and now they over here telling me something totally different. I got angry, and I was on the floor, and I was crying. I was like, y'all took my baby, because I was very close to my son. I was a stay-at-home mom. I took care of my baby. I had a little part-time job, 2 part-time jobs here and there. But I'll go into how the persecution of what they was doing to try to make me lose my job and my car. Something had happened to my car, it was just crazy. People was trying to set me up. And so, I was over here like, like I was very upset. And then I found out something about, when Sandra Bland was pulled over, in a certain month and she died. They was also chasing me around the same month time. And I had natural hair, and Sandra had natural hair, and they was over there chasing us around the same time. And I believe that they was trying to perform satanic rituals on us because they was looking for a reason to try to put me in a jail too. And I already knew why, because I wasn't doing anything, and they was profiling me and being very racist, and I knew what time it was. So I outran the police. And it was around the same time, not the same year that Sandra Bland was killed, but the next year around the same time, they tried to do the same thing they did to Sandra, to me, and I outran them, and I would make it back home to my driveway before they could try to pull me over, and then they would wait outside my house for me to come out of my driveway, and then when they followed me, I would hurry up and pull over and stop in the parking lot, and they'll keep going, and I would get them on camera. And when I told Cynthia Olvera that I had got them on camera doing it, because she was saying she didn't know nothing about it, but she's claiming she called CPS, but CPS never took my child from me. I had passed government inspections to get my child in NCIS, and there was no CPS case for me. So she knew that this was some sort of ritual that they was trying to perform on me, trying to have me killed in this country. So she was like, oh, police don't racially profile black women. They don't do that. Yes, they do. And I was like, do you have anything to do with this, Cynthia? And she was like, no. And I asked Austin, do you have anything to do with this? And he was like, no, when I get home, I'll protect you and all of this. But I knew they did. And so what I did was I started filming them, and white people was coming past my house doing evil stuff every night. And it was black men and people from the military doing it too. And they was harassing me and doing radiation stuff on me. And they was poisoning my food that I would buy from the stores, follow me in the grocery store to see what I buy, and then poisoning the stuff that we buy. And it was making me and my son delirious in the house. They cut off the water, and then when it came back on, it was poison. They broke all of the Brita filters that I would use out of the store to filter the water. They was all broken. And when I told Cynthia that I had started, I said, Cynthia, well, I got the evidence and I'm finna get me a lawyer. She was like, I'm calling the police to come over there. And I was like, why are you going to see? This is why I was like, y'all got to watch them people that be talking about they doing so-called wellness checks on people and then having them killed. Somebody supposedly did a wellness check on a Tatiana Jefferson. And then the police officer came over there and shot her through the window and assassinated her in her home. So, I asked Cynthia Olvera several times, do not call the police department, because I had already gone up to the police department to report suspicious behavior around the property. And when I went up there, I said, I need to speak with you. It's been a lot of suspicious things happening around my home, and I want to report it. So I went up there personally because I had already called 911 on these officers. I called the emergency number, and I told them, I said I was at the laundromat washing clothes with my little boy. And the whole neighborhood was following me. People in cars, the police, because when I said I had got evidence of the police, they started doing it in cars, and it was regular civilians, criminals, people doing it. So I was like, this not cool. And they was all following behind me, trying to get me hit by trains and all kind of stuff. So I had called 911. And I said, ma'am, I just want to let you know, if anything happens to me, the Cairo police have something to do with it. That was another 911 call that I had made. And then so I had made another 911 call because there was 2 police officers that was sitting outside in the Baytown Seafood restaurant. That was like, it wasn't like my house is right here across the street, a few little blocks, like a few little lots over, and that's the Baytown Seafood, and they was waiting right there, and they had been following me, and they had been following me from the first domestic assault charge that Austin had before I even had a car. They followed me to work when I had on the black hoodie that Cynthia bought me with gold trimming, and it was the morning time, and I was on my way to Taco Bell, and one police officer rode up first, and then another one. He said, ma'am, I need you to come with us. You fit the description of somebody who committed a crime. And then so I pulled off my hoodie. I was like, man, I'm on my way to work. And this was when Austin got the assault family violence charge, December 2015. He called a charge for punching me in my head over and over in the house, and a white man next door called the police, and he was attacking me outside, and I had to pull out a pocket knife to tell him to get back, and then I walked off. But the police had already been called on him, and they had neighbors that just seen me pull out the knife and tell him to get back, and then he was still trying to attack me, and I was like, I'm serious now. And then he backed up, and then I was walking off to tell him he could have the apartment. You're not going to be beating me up. And this was in the first apartment that we had at 230 Avenue G. This was not at my apartment at 1301 Houston Street. I got that apartment after Austin was in jail for the rape charge on a probation violation for trying to rape me. And the police officer heard a recording of him trying to rape me, and the police officer made the call to charge him with rape. And I didn't make the call to the police. The leasing agent, Maria, made the call to the police because Austin was pulling out knives, saying he was going to kill himself because I didn't want to have sex with him because we was not really even together like that. We were just still living together. And it was crazy because this was January. I had got hired by Taco Bell because I had lost my job after he was attacking me. I didn't have the strength to get up to go to work after what happened at the Chinese buffet. So I got hired at the Taco Bell, and they tried not to hire me or give me the job after they had told me I could have the job. And I had to call Cynthia to get Cynthia to use her white privilege, you know what I'm saying, to let them know you can't do that. You done signed paperwork to hire me. You called me up here for my first day, and then they tried to say that I worked for the company before, so they couldn't hire me. I never worked for the company before. So my hair was straight during the interview, but then I came up there with my natural hair to start work, and all of a sudden they were saying that they couldn't give me the job because I worked there and I never did. So I did start working there in January, and when I was on my way to this job by the high school on North Davis Street in Conroe, Texas, the police rolled up on me trying to say that I fit the description of someone who committed a crime. I had just walked from my apartment on my way to work. And so while I was on my way to work, I told the officer that I had not committed a crime. I just left my home to come to work, and then I showed my work uniform. I had on a gray Taco Bell shirt underneath, and I was like, I'm on my way to work or whatever. And he was like, okay, do you need a ride? Trying to get me to get in the back of the police car like I was a criminal, and the job was right there where I could walk. And I was like, no, I could walk. He was like, are you sure? And another officer had rolled up, and they was both out there like intimidating me, and I was like, no. I was like, I'm not getting in the car with you guys. I can walk. So I went on ahead and walked to work. And they have been following me from the time that me and Austin came to Conroe, Texas. They have been following me in Austin. And so while he was attacking me all over the town, people was calling and reporting it to the police. And then police was rolling up like they wanted to do something to me. And they was trying to get me to tell on him, and I wouldn't do it. But the day that I pulled out the knife, you know, I had to tell them what really happened because somebody had already reported that he was beating me in the house. So I told the truth. I was like, yeah, he was beating me. You know, I had to tell the truth because when it gets to the point where I got to have to defend myself like that, then yeah, I got to tell the truth. And I didn't want to tell him because of Cynthia. I didn't want Cynthia to be mad at me because Austin was going to jail or whatever, because she was helping me out, you know, like a mother, you know. So I didn't want to feel like I had betrayed Cynthia by telling that Austin was beating on me. And this was not the first time, because there was a white woman who called to say that Austin was on top of me, that he was attacking me. He was trying to force me to have sex with him at the Econo Lodge, and then he jumped on my back and grabbed my neck and tried to drag me to the ground, and I pulled the curtains down. And he had me on the bed, and he was on top of me, and I was on my knees, and he was on top of me on the side of the bed, and I was screaming, and he was butt naked, and then the lady called the police. And he had knocked me into everything in the front of the hotel room or whatever. And the police, you know, they let him go, and we ended up getting back together because I didn't have anywhere to go. And so that's how we ended up staying together. And he had been abusing me from the beginning of the relationship. He abused me the entire relationship, the entire time. So basically, now the police were profiling me after he had got the assault family violence charge, then he got the rape charge for trying to rape me when he got out after the assault family violence charge. But I got pregnant by him the night that he got out on the domestic violence charge, and he was put on a 2-year felony probation for assaulting a public servant in the jail when he got the assault family violence charge. So I had been talking to my older sister, telling her that I was pregnant, and that I believed that I was pregnant, and what was going. No, I had taken a pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant, and I told her, you know what I'm saying. And she was with her baby daddy at the time, and her baby daddy knew about it as well. And you know, I was trying to go to work to get my funds up and everything, but it was very hard for me because when he went back, they evicted us out of the 230 Avenue G apartment. Maria evicted us, and she was trying to say that hit him because one day he was harassing me and trying to fight me on my way to work, and I was pregnant, and I turned around and I pushed him and he fell down. And I had been asking the white people that was watching the police call the police, but they wouldn't do it. And then when I had turned around and kind of fought back and pushed him down, then they called the police and tried to incriminate me. And when the police officer came, the white lady, C. Adams, who arrested me the day that I shot him, her and D. Schreider, she said, get in the back of the police car. And I said, no, I'm not getting in the back of your police car, because everybody knew he was abusing me and nobody would call the police. But then when I try to defend myself, you want to try to tell me to get in the back of the police car. And I knew she was doing it because I was black, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then she called for backup. Backup! I need backup now! And then so they came, and it was some of the officers that had already been to my property knowing that he was abusing me, and they had been called by civilians, because I had never called the police on Austin. I had never called the police on him. All the 911 calls that had led up to them point was from white people who had seen him abusing me. It was not from me. And so because I was trying to be loyal to Cynthia, and because I loved him. And so the officer asked me what happened, and I told him. And then he was like, and I told him I was pregnant. He was like, run along, hurry up. And I told him I was on my way to work, and Austin was trying to abuse me on my way to work. So I ran and went to work, and then they still had came after me, wanted to know a little bit about the pregnancy. And I told him, I didn't know exactly when I conceived, so I didn't know if it was during the times where he was forcing me, but then I found out from the due date or whatever that I conceived when he first got out, and so they basically, we would be arguing in the neighborhood and all of that stuff, and but it was mostly Austin. It was Austin, acting a fool and everything. And then they'll pull up, oh, you don't need that black bitch. You don't need her. You can be with one of us, but I was leaving him because he was abusing me. This is why I kept walking off on him, and then they would be sitting there watching, him begging me to be with him, but it was because he was abusing me. And then it was color abuse as well. He was color abusing me. And then they was over there trying to make a skeptical out of it, and then trying to get black girls to fight me while he's over there abusing me. Black girls running up like, come on, bitch, I'll fight you too. Come on, oh. And I'm like, bitch, what's up? And I was pregnant, and Austin was like, no, you're not finna fight her. She pregnant with my baby. I'll beat your ass, and so it was just crazy around that time. And I really felt like he loved me, but I felt like he just needed to be on his medication because he have bipolar disorder, and he was supposed to be supposedly taking medication. But I learned that it's some deep-seated satanic things that have to do with this, and it's not just bipolar disorder, it's spiritual. And God did let me know that deep down, Austin is a really good person. But when it comes to what he have turned into, as far as the abuse, God was like, nah, he got to learn some lessons because he's abusing women. You know what I'm saying? And they was in love. God said that Austin and I was in love, and that we had a real special relationship, but there was a lot of racism involved, and Austin was abusing me. And God, I'm not finna look past the fact that he's abusing women. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they was in love, but he was abusing me. And God was like, no, he have to pay for that. And so I didn't go to jail that day or whatever, and it was all kind of people that was trying to fight me. It was all kind of people trying to fight me, while my baby daddy was abusing me and I was pregnant. And so he caught the rape charge. He went to jail for that. I was screaming or whatever, but it was I didn't even think that was gonna happen. I just told him I was tired. I came home from work, and I told him I didn't feel like having sex, and then he just tried to force me, and I was like, damn, I'm not finna be with no man that's gonna force me. I'll give it to you when I give it to you, but you're not going to force me. And then, because that's unattractive as hell. When you start trying to force a woman to have sex with you and getting violent, you really not getting none from me. And that's what he was doing. And then he started pulling out knives, threatening to kill himself and all of that. And I was scared because if you can kill yourself, then you could hurt me too. And so I called Maria because she said she didn't want the police to be over at the property anymore, or she was going to evict us. So I called her, and she called the police. And when the police showed up, he said whatever all of a sudden